Welcome to the Immortal Podcast.
We are live, motherfuckers. Episode 2, Immortal Cast, here with my dude Roddy. What's going on, Big Roddy?
Hey man, how you doing? How's everything treating you in Ohio?
Life is good, except it's snowing like a motherfucker. We got, 6 inches right now.
God.
But it's all good, man, because I still got my cold plunge in this morning.
Oh man, you still that well, I mean, I've got mine outside, but I store it up in the wintertime because I have the swimming pool, so I just jump in the pool in the wintertime.
Yeah, that works too, man. How cold was it today?
It's at like the plunge or the pool's probably out at 49 degrees.
Oh, that's not bad.
No, it's not bad. It's not bad.
Yeah, I had to break the ice on mine to get in it.
Damn. Yeah, you got
Yeah.
your balls were all shriveled up into your stomach.
Yeah, I was not in there long. I could tell you that much because usually I try to get the 2 to 3 minutes. This morning, it was like I dove in. And I was like, all right, I fucking did it. I'm out of here because it was, I think, about 5 degrees this morning outside.
Man.
So it was actually warmer in the cold plunge than it was, the ambient temperature.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So, do you always hit 3 minutes?
Out.
Do you always hit 3? You said you don't know. You aim for 3. It's like 3 the mark, the max. Oh.
You know what? Like I used to. Now I kind of just do it just to do it, man. And I don't actually time myself no more. I don't think it's really necessary.
No.
Because I do it. What they say is 11 minutes a week is where the hot spot is, right? The sweet spot. So I make sure, to get in there every morning, and I just do it.
Yeah, I think it's better not to time
I don't try to time it.
I don't. I gave up doing that too. I think it makes it worse.
Same, man. It's same with the sauna. Like I don't time it anymore. I do have a sand timer because so I'll flip that and I'll just know. But I'm not actually like timing myself. I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna hold myself to some timer. Like if I feel it, then I stay in longer. Like I just try to enjoy it, man. It's more about the sauna's about the relaxation. The cold plunge is about getting in that mission mindset first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
And it's not about like, can I hit this amount of time or whatever? Because I think, honestly, to be completely honest, I think a lot of the benefits, like the physical benefits, are kind of overstated anyway on all that stuff.
Yeah.
Not in the sauna, but on the cold plunge.
Yeah.
So I don't really sweat it personally.
No, it's just a habit now. I've been doing it for like 2 years for me. So I don't know, man. I feel good after I do it. I feel good.
Yeah.
I do feel good. I feel like
Same.
I don't know what the physical benefits are, but I just know that I feel good after I do that plunge. And I hate to do it too, because I'm just like, oh my God, this is gonna suck.
Right. I think it feels so good to do something that you hated to do.
Yep.
Right. There's something to that. Like, oh, I did not want to do this and I did it. That's what I said. It gets me in that mission mindset.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like there's nothing else in the entire day that I'm gonna do that was as hard as that.
Yeah.
It's getting out of my cozy ass bed that's warm and walk outside in the snow and when it's 0 degrees outside and getting a fucking cold tub of freezing ass water.
Yeah, dude.
It's like,
you're right.
What the fuck you gonna do to me?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? What are you gonna do to me now?
Dude, but you're right. That's exactly right. I've been in that swimming pool at 6 a.m. in the morning when it's dark out, and my wife's like, "You're crazy. Why do you do that?" And I'm like, it's the discipline part of it. It's mainly for me. It's I like the way it makes me feel, but it's to your point, man. It's like it's discipline. It's like I'm doing it every morning because if there's nothing else, I can't. What else can I not do after I just jumped in a 49-degree swimming pool in the morning? And it's blackout. So,
and I think part of it for me too is I'm big on like having some non-negotiables in my life.
Yeah.
And that's just one of them. It's a non-negotiable, and because every single morning I've been doing it for a couple years myself. Every single morning I wake up and negotiate with myself as to whether I'm actually going to do it or not. And when I go do it, and just know that I beat my own little bitch ass mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, that little pussy in the back of your head. It's
Yeah.
like, don't do it, bro. Just lay here and be
Yeah.
comfy. Just knowing that I beat that little bitch, I think that's what the good feeling is. Mission mindset, baby.
It is. It is. And isn't that weird? It's weird to me that we do it every day, but like even though we do it every day, we're telling ourselves, maybe I'll just lay in bed today, and maybe I'll take this one off.
Every day.
Even though you're doing it every day, and you know that you're going to get in it, like, I don't know, man. That's like that angel and devil on your shoulder thing. You know, it's kind of it's testing you, and it's just testing you in different ways. Of like, let me see if I can get Matt not to get out of bed and go into the cold plunge today. Because if it's just that one thing,
Rogan, I like how Rogan calls it your inner bitch, which discipline's like a funny thing to me, man. Like fighters are not disciplined motherfuckers at all, bro. I think that's like one of the biggest misconceptions out there. Fighters are not disciplined. We have a great fucking life. We love doing what we're doing, and like, who wouldn't want to go to the gym and beat people up?
oh yeah,
You know what I mean? It's like it's a good fucking life, bro. Like, you train martial arts for like all day. I mean, obviously, like, there's pros and cons, right? There's
Yeah.
downsides, and you have shitty days. But like, we would like, my worst day I ever went into a gym was better than any factory job I ever had in my life.
yeah,
My best day at the factory didn't compare to my worst day at the gym.
yeah. But what's it take? I don't know, man. Like to get in that mindset, like when it's a fight camp. You know what I mean? Like, okay, you're taking some of that into the cold plunge, obviously. But like, what's it take to get into like a mindset?
Kind of. There's a little bit difference too, though, because a fight camp is like a fight or flight thing. You know what I mean? You're
Yeah.
like you ain't got a choice now. You signed the contract, bro. Like, you're like, okay, we're going. I better fucking get some shit done. Whereas the cold plunge, like, I actually had a hard time getting started doing it when I first got my cold plunge. It was about because I had that choice.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I got no fucking reason to go do a cold plunge.
Yeah.
Like you said, you know, your girl's gonna be like, "What the fuck you doing, you crazy son of a bitch?"
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
You know, I'm single now partially because half of what I do, the girls are like, "What the fuck you doing, you crazy son of a bitch?" You know?
Yeah.
But you know, you actually have the choice,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
When you're fighting, I mean, technically you have a choice, but you know what the consequences of that choice is going to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're like, dude, I know I need to train. You got other people holding you accountable, pushing you. Yeah, your training partner is going to be like, "Where are you at today, bro? Where you
Yep.
going? Let's go." And half these guys, probably more than half, like, these guys love the gym just for the social aspect.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know, just which is a beautiful thing, right?
Yeah.
But fighters are the same. You know, just that social, be in the community.
Yeah.
We go in there and we just hang out and chat and, you know, talk about girls and,
Yeah.
you know, whatever we're doing, you know, talking about life and
You're amongst your people. I mean, a lot of you
Yeah.
guys have a lot in common. I mean, there's a lot of fighter story. I mean, not too, you know, not too many fighters come from like really glamorous upbringings from, you know, what I've heard in stories and
Yeah.
documentaries that I've seen. You don't see a whole lot of fighters that it's all kind of like, you know, there's a little bit of darkness that happened when they were younger to kind of push them, or, you know, poverty or whatever. But
Yeah, you know, I was talking about that. I was talking about that just a little bit ago with one of my dudes, and he was like asking why there's not as many D1 athletes, like college wrestlers and stuff from America that go into MMA, and I told him, I said, look, if you're a D1 athlete, like, you probably come from a decent family. You probably got a good support system, and you went to college, right?
Yeah.
You know, you probably got, obviously, like, you were a D1 athlete, you were in college, or, you know, maybe you got a scholarship, whatever, and now you have a choice. Well, now they got NIL too, right? A lot of these guys are making a lot of money just from the NIL, but, you know, you got a choice to go and making, you know, what, 80, 100K a year one out of college,
yeah.
or you're gonna go fight for 12 and 12.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And most likely, like, your parents were supporting you through college, right? Especially if you're a D1 wrestler or something, like, your family's coming out watching you, supporting you.
Yeah.
You go call your mom and be like, "Yo, mom, I think you know, I did this 4 years of college, but, you know, I think I'm gonna go fight for this, you know, this 12 and 12 contract.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
like, I don't know about this going into the office, accounting, and guaranteed job and benefits and retirement. I think I'm gonna go risk my life in a cage
Oh man.
like a fucking idiot. You know?
Well, I mean, there's, I think for the guys that would do that, that have all the, financial support from their families, went to college, I think that they've got that, there's something in them. You know what I mean? There's just, for those kind of guys, there's something in them. They've got to do
The
it.
majority of those guys, they're just like supreme athletes. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like they were born athletic, and then they get the support and everything. There's very few D1 athletes that come from shit ass backgrounds.
Yeah.
Right? It happens, but like to meet the academic requirements, when they weren't raised that way,
Yeah.
without a father or discipline or some shit, it's just rare, man. Like I've been in the D1 colleges, and you just don't see it a whole lot.
Yeah.
Like these guys are mainly coming from good homes. And
Yeah.
it is one of my complaints, in the future, and I want to do like an entire series kind of on the monopoly of the UFC, the lawsuit,
Oh yeah.
and the entire, because I think people don't really have an understanding of it and why there's not much money in it as there should be.
Oh yeah. Well, I
So
mean,
I'd like to do a deep dive into it and explain to people the way this works, because a lot of people just think like when I talk about it, they're like, oh, you're just a disgruntled former athlete. You didn't become champion, like you fucking loser or whatever. And it's like, no, like I respect the UFC for what they do, and I actually love the UFC and what they're doing. But but what they're doing is not creating a financial path for athletes. What they're not doing is expanding the sport in a positive way.
yeah.
There's a lot of things that they could be doing better, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. The problem is no one is fighting against them.
Yeah.
There's no one in there on our side.
Well, do you think? I mean, when you say fighting against them, do you mean like there's no fighters like that are standing up that are in there now? Like wouldn't that or
Absolutely.
like I mean, wouldn't you say that they're
When
kind of scared
when
to
I
bite the hand that feeds them?
that's a small part of it. When I say there's no one fighting against them, fighters is just one. But one of the first things people talk about is like, oh, you guys should form a union. Well, just imagine getting a bunch of fighters together.
Mm-hmm.
First, organize them to do fucking anything.
Yeah.
Like they're a bunch of fighters to begin with, and you want these guys to work together when their actual job is to be against each other,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So the union part is lost, and it's also illegal for independent contractors to unionize anyway, which a lot of people don't know, but that's actually illegal. So that part's out. So then you say, okay, well, maybe the managers will fight for you. That's what you pay them for, right? They're going to negotiate for you. They're going to help you out. They're all fucking UFC peons, right? Like
Yeah.
they just do what the UFC says. Like, so managers don't fight for us. Say, okay, well, we got the athletic commissions. The athletic commissions have turned against us too. Because they get paid when the UFC puts on events in their state. So they try to be as friendly as they can. And the UFC brings in lots of dollars for them.
Yeah.
So that helps them. So the only thing left is the politicians, right?
Yeah.
Now we need the laws on our side. Well, now, love him or hate him, Donald Trump is in office, and he's like best friends with Dana White.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I mean,
And
if you're relying on politicians for anything, good luck.
right,
Unless it's
right,
unless it's benefiting them in some degree, good luck. It's not.
yeah.
It's not happening. I mean, that's just.
And then there's that, right? And
But you think that they want to pay these guys?
Who?
Like the UFC. I mean, the happier, it's like if you have, I own companies, and if you're,
so okay, yeah, but you own companies, right? So you'll get this, though, right? If you can pay someone $10 an hour to go do the job, why would you pay them 20 if everybody's doing the job for 10?
But let me answer that. I don't want to pay somebody $10 an hour if I can pay them 20. I want them to make money so that they can succeed. I mean, that's just what kind of person I am, man. Because if they're a happy worker, they're going to do a better job for me. And if I've got somebody disgruntled at $10, they're going to talk shit about me. It's going to be a mutiny.
Fair. On top of that, though, the majority of these motherfuckers are happy, though.
Yeah. Well, I think
I don't know if I'd say a majority. They're at least not speaking out if they're not happy.
Well, you know what, man? Here's the thing, dude. Even though you're a fighter and this is my opinion on this. Even though you have fighters in there, and their title is, they're a fighter. These guys are, badasses, or these women are badasses, and all that. But the thing is some people, that's in the ring. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't like drama. They're just like, I don't want that drama. I don't need that drama. They could be like, like I've hung out with you, man. I mean, you're a lethal guy, man, in the ring. I mean, you've got, the record for knockouts. Like, you're a lethal guy, but in person, like when I first met you, it was like, you're very cordial and, a nice guy, chill. Like, we've gone out and had lunch with, and all that stuff. And I've hung out with you, and you're a chill guy. So like, and I'm sure, I've been around some other ones that are just like, okay, I never want to be around that human again.
But that's a good point, because I would say the majority, like when it comes to fighters, like, do we get all our stress out on the mats, and we got more than enough energy to expend there. So like, we're not trying to expend energy elsewhere. And on that same note too, you're talking about guys that are so committed, they've dedicated their entire lives to being a warrior. Like none of us want to be thinking about this fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we got a home. This is a standard fighting mentality, right? We got a home, we got mats, we got food, we get laid.
Yeah.
Life is good. Like, what the fuck else do I need, bro?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Every now and then someone comes along, like a Francis Ngannou, and he's like, oh, you motherfuckers ain't paying me near what I'm worth.
And he's the devil.
Right, and then he becomes the devil now, right? By some people, but then he goes out and makes $50 million, in boxing and shit, right?
But he knew his worth. I mean, you can't. That guy knew his worth. He's like, you know what? My name is a big name. Everybody wants to watch me fight, and I think that's what he was asking for, And I've personally never heard an interview on him. I'm sure there's 1, 2, 3, 4 out there with his stance on the UFC and pain. I know that I've heard like inserts from Dana on podcasts, just people like playing the inserts from him and and their relationship. But I mean, that the UFC, man, what they own the WWE, they own the UFC, and then now it's looking at boxing, like coming in on I mean, that's monopoly.
Yeah, TKO owns it all. Yeah, and that's what I said. At some point, I'd like to do an actual deep dive on it and explain to people what's going on. They can kind of make their own opinion. Like, I won't even necessarily give my opinions, but just some of the facts and like this, particularly like the Ali Act thing that they're doing right now. They're trying to do this Ali Revision Act, and there's some, I take major issue with that. Just being the MMA saved my life. I'm very passionate about it. I love it. It's what my life has been committed to, and they already own it, but they're trying to make it so that they can never be tested. And that's my entire position on my issue with them is, again, the lawmakers are on their side now, right? They're helping them get this shit passed.
Yeah.
And I've spoken to lawmakers. I've spoken to 3 of them, actually, like on the phone, which is pretty hard to do, I think, for the normal person, right?
Sure,
but I was
absolutely.
fortunate, they were actual UFC fans, and they said, look, we'll give you time. One of them, hell, he was a huge fan. He was like, hey, I fucking love talking to you, whatever. And I was like, all right, cool. Well, how about you don't pass this Ali Act and help the others not pass it?
Yeah.
And he got back to me a few days later and it literally quoted the talking points that TKO gives them.
Yeah.
And and it's in my head, I just thought, man, like you did not do any research on this whatsoever, and you are voting for something that is affecting people's lives in a very major way. And it's not like exclusive to just the Ali Act, UFC, and combat sports, right? Like I'm sure they do the same thing on everything.
Everything.
They breeze over
Yeah.
the bill. And say, okay, what's going to be the best in it for me or for my party or whatever kind of bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. You're exactly right. I mean, those bills are like 1,000 pages long anyway, so none of them are intentionally that long, so that they won't read them all and flip through them all. And then they do it exactly what you said. There's just talking points. They probably upload it to an AI system and then say, just give me the talking points of what was on there, so I can and tell me what to say.
That's what they're doing
and
now.
Tell me what to say, Matt Brown.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. It's kind of tragic, man. It was the same thing like stem cells. They're not legal in America, and it's like, why the fuck are stem cells not legal in America?
Yeah, that's crazy
Oh,
to
well,
me.
okay, well they are legal. I take that back, but they're very like could
But it's your own stem
regulated by
cell.
the
But
FDA.
isn't it your own stem cells? I mean, I could be 100% wrong. I don't know. But like from what I know, you can use your own cell. You're not, it's like you're using your stem cells when you're getting stem cells in your body, like our stem cell therapy.
Hmm. Well, there's multiple ways to do it. There is where you can actually pull them out of yourself and then re-inject them at a later time.
Yeah.
And then most of them come from fetuses and not necessarily aborted fetuses.
Yeah.
It's like placentas or some
Yeah.
shit. Like
Yeah.
you can like actually like have the baby and extract the stem cells also, which like the place I go to in Colombia is Stem Cell International. That's what they do. And they'll actually follow the 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 mother
Yeah.
as when she's pregnant. They'll take her blood work, they'll check on her, and they'll make sure everything's healthy. And if she's not up to their standard, like they won't extract the stem cells out of her. And then they'll actually extract the stem cells right there in the laboratory, like downstairs, and then they give you the stem cells upstairs. It's not, in America, they're actually, it's kind of sketchy, you know what I mean? Because they're buying them wholesale.
What's up, everybody? It's Roddy from the Immortal Podcast with UFC legend and knockout artist Matt Brown. Quick plug for our official sponsor, VitaFuel. They just dropped their new creatine. Builds muscle, ramps up strength, and sharpens mental focus. Works great for guys, girls, young or old. It's never too early or too late to get after a fitness routine. Head to vitafuel.com. Use Immortal10 for 10% off your first order. VitaFuel, VITAPHUEL.com, and hit subscribe on the Immortal Podcast. New episodes every week.
And they're buying them frozen, and like you don't know what they've
Yeah.
been through, what kind of,
I would have,
where they come from.
yeah. Yeah. I would have a problem with that. I know, one of the guys that I train with, he was telling he had stem cells done, but they went into his bone marrow. So I mean, dude, I'm like,
Yeah.
there's no fucking way that I'm gonna let somebody jab a big needle into my thigh and go into my bone and pull that out. That just sounds so painful, man. That's like,
So I know that is one way to do it. I don't know much about that specific way. Someday we'll have Rustin on here, my buddy who owns Stem Cell International, and we'll have him do a deep dive on it, man. He's so knowledgeable on all that stuff, and what they're doing down there in Colombia is amazing, and it's helped me significantly. It's absolutely amazing what stem cells will do for your body, man.
what is so like with the stem cell? How many times have you done? Had stem cell therapy? Like what is like the? I mean, what's the walkthrough once you go in there? I mean, they just shoot you up.
So
I mean, what's like the protocol?
So I've had them in America 5 or 6 times now, and they did make a difference. Like no doubt, they absolutely made a difference. But in America, what they'll do is you can go. So I go to probably the best place in America. It's in Beverly Hills. It's called R3. My girl Frankie, she hooks up a lot of UFC fighters, and they go out there. I'm sure I've posted about it on my Instagram. It's been a while, but since I've been there. Going to Colombia and getting the real shit, once I started talking to Rustin and he started explaining to me what they're doing at Stem Cell International and the way that they're extracting the cells, the way they're taking care of everything, it's a completely different process because they'll actually do, like when I talked to Rustin first, it was in like July. I didn't even go until October because they wanted to make sure that my body was prepped to take the stem cells, to accept them. So one of the first things, which I never even thought about after getting them here in America, because I would just walk in, they would inject them, and you walk out, go home. The first thing he did was do his cancer screening. He's like, if you have a tumor somewhere, right, the stem cells will attach to that, and then you're just growing a tumor at this point.
Oh man.
And it's never even crossed my mind before. But
Yeah.
fortunately, I didn't have any tumors or anything. But they did this screening, but they did all kinds of blood work. They made sure that I was already optimized before I went out there. And then the first trip out there was in October, and they gave me what's called exosomes. They gave me some methylene blue, which is a new thing that's pretty fascinating that
Yeah.
I don't know a ton about. But the exosomes is a type of stem cell that just they do an IV and they just kill all the inflammation in your body. And I came back the next week, and it takes a few days for it to start kind of kicking in, but I immediately felt different when I came back, and it wasn't a big difference. Like wow, I'm so energetic, I'm hyped up, I feel
Sure.
like I took some cocaine or some shit.
Yeah.
It was more like, you know, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm sitting there and I'm just not getting tired.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, like I feel good right now. Like this isn't normal. Um, or after a workout or something. Um,
You feel
you
awake.
know, some of my exactly right. Some of my joints, I just be like, oh wow, that thing doesn't really hurt like it did
Yeah.
a week or two ago. But anyway, so they do that to kill all the inflammation and everything. Then we going back in, I believe January, maybe February at the latest, and then they're going to actually site inject, right? Because I have a bunch of surgeries I've went through, so they're going to actually find the sites. But first, I like that they do a whole process,
Yeah.
right? They're making sure everything is clear, your body's optimized, and
Yeah.
it's going to accept the stem cells. They're not just
Shooting you out. Yeah.
yeah, it's not just a factory where they're like, oh, you want some? Here you go.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that
But
I think that you can go like that's the difference between going to like a chop shop and then going to like
mhm.
the dealer where they actually they walk
Yeah.
you through for real. I mean, I've talked to a couple different ones. I have some friends that go out to Tijuana. These are
Yeah.
some actors that go out there, and it's legit. They're legit. I talked to the owners there because
Mhm.
I was thinking about doing it, and the whole
Was that
process.
was that bioaccelerator?
Honestly, man, I don't even remember the name. This was like
That's
2 years
probably
ago.
what it was. That's the most common one, and I believe they have a office in um, Tijuana. And again, well, it'd be great when we get Rustin on here and he can kind of go through this a
Yeah,
little deeper. He's like Biox is one of the better ones, um, and he'll tell you too. Like he's very honest about it. He's like, there's certain ones, and he'll tell you like, yeah, that's a good one, that's not a good one, um, but they're not doing what he's doing.
yeah.
Right. He's like this very good one. Like they're not freezing their stem cells. They're not giving you bullshit. But there's levels to this shit.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I can't
Right.
imagine. Yeah, I got to talk with him a little bit. You made an introduction to with us, and he and I talked for like an hour and a half, and I was just blown away because I thought I knew a little bit about it, but he's got a really good story, and definitely he would be an awesome person to have on the podcast. Just to like
Yeah.
as because a lot of people are curious about stem cells. There's a lot of information out there, but like having it right from the horse's mouth and the way that he explained
Hmm.
it to me, and like the different places that you can go. Opposed to like what he does. I'm like, it made me really think like, wow, I'm not just going to go down to that place. He made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And he wasn't trying to pitch me like on coming out to
Right.
Columbia. He was just being straight up like, hey man, you got to watch out when you talk to these people where you're going at, because a lot of these people, you could get the wrong stuff injected into your body and it goes haywire. So
Yeah. Or like I said, I mean, what if you got a tumor and you don't even know it?
that's the scary one right
You know?
there. That's the scariest
Yeah.
one.
I mean, how many people go just get cancer screenings
'Cause
randomly? Right. Like
Yep.
it's
Yep. Well, that's the stem cell. So for those that don't know, like for what you're talking about, when they send those cells in, stem cells, like on an injection site, when they inject it into the injection site, it takes on the identity. So if they're putting it into your like
Mhm.
your shoulder, for like a torn muscle or something in there, those stem cells are taking on that identity there. They don't have an identity yet. So now they're like shoulder cells or whatnot.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is if they just shoot a bunch of free radical stem cells in your body and they attach to a tumor, they become tumor cells. That's fucking scary, man. Yeah.
It's scary, right? Yeah. And um, that's why I work with those guys, man. Like, I mean, you know me for a while, man.
Yep.
Like, I don't promote shit that I don't talk about or promote. If they were bad, like I would come on here and say, like, oh, these are some scummy motherfuckers. Fuck them.
Yeah.
Right? There's and the longer we do this podcast, there's gonna be motherfuckers I'm gonna call out, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I'll call out the construction guy, Todd Miller. I'll say his fucking name. Fuck that motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like there's people like. So like when I talk about something, I just keep it real, man. That's just who I am. But yeah, we're gonna get Rustin some creatine too, man. We're gonna work with him on that shit and get some creatine down there to him because Yeah, the VitaFuel's on its way up, man.
Yeah, it's on its way up, and the creatine. I've actually got a tub of it right here.
Oh, you got some right
We
there.
can
Let's
do
go.
a little spot for the creatine right up there. So we've got like if you're listening right now, our listeners like tuning in, VitaFuel.com, VITAPHUEL.com. This is Matt and I's company. Our first launch product is creatine. I take it daily. I believe in it. I know it works. I know that Matt, you take it. Feel that's the reason why we
Well,
launched
that's
this.
yeah. I mean, that's the thing about creatine is there's no question if it works,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah,
it's thousands and thousands of studies. The biggest issue with creatine is the myths behind it.
yeah,
As great as it is for our muscles and our overall health, people don't know about the cognitive effects, like
yeah.
how good it can be for your brain. And I heard this thing from Rhonda Patrick not too long ago, and she's like, if you have a night where you don't sleep that well, right, and you
Yeah.
have a lack of sleep, she's like, mega dose some creatine the next day.
Yeah.
And I've done that a couple of times when it was a couple weeks ago. Like my daughter was sick, she was
Mhm.
getting up all night, so I didn't get a lot of sleep, and woke up the next day and I took like 25 grams of creatine, and I'm not gonna say I felt like $1,000,000 through the day, but there was a noticeable difference between what I normally would feel like with that lack of sleep
Yeah.
versus what I felt like that day.
So,
A noticeable difference.
so opposed to taking like 10 grams, you bumped it to 25 for that day.
Yes, yes. And I'll tell you what I've been doing. Um, I've actually started doing like 15 to 20 on a regular day anyway,
Wow.
just every day. Like,
Yeah. I'm at 10.
it-
I'm at 10. I stay at 10, but I have to bump it up. Now I have to experiment with that now.
yeah, and I don't know. The thing that I do know is it's so safe that it's like you're not hurting yourself by trying. I know some people have some gut issues with
Yeah.
it, right? That give them a little bit of diarrhea. I think I tried like 30 or 40 grams one day or something just to see what would happen. And yeah, I had to run for a couple minutes and then got it out. But I think you can adapt your body to that too. I have a friend who he does 30 grams a day. And I asked him about that. I was like, do you ever get the runs? He's like, yeah, at first I did, and then my body got used to it. And now it's nothing.
I was listening to a podcast the other day, and I can't remember which one because I listened to several of them. So, but one of the guests on there said that he like was hungover, and I'm not promoting this, but he said he was really hungover, and then he just he did like 20. He dumped 20 grams in, and he said he felt he wasn't like you had said, like he wasn't like walking on water, but he said he felt like a lot better after it kicked in. So that's another thing to keep in mind. So if you for the hangovers,
Yeah, I never even thought about that. I haven't drank in God a few years now,
man,
and it really like what one thing people don't really know about me is I'm not an addict, right? Like I can drink and be totally cool.
yeah,
Like I what I mean, not I'm not an alcoholic.
go
Where I'm
off
like,
the
dude, I
rails.
gotta have more.
Yeah,
Right. I've done every drug there is in excess, but I've always been able to quit cold turkey. I only had withdrawals one time. I was addicted to meth when I was young and ended up going to jail, which is
Ugh.
fortunately what got me off of. But I didn't realize I was addicted until I was in jail and having withdrawals and shit. And I was like, "Fuck, bro!" I was in some deep shit, right? But anyway, I'm not an addict, so I'll have drinks every now and then. Usually if like I'm on a date, hanging with a lady or something, and
Social.
you know, ma- yeah, maybe I'm trying to get her drunk.
Oh,
maybe
nice.
that's the plan.
Just
But
bring me a tonic and water. So Matt, like speaking of like the ladies, like how do you like what did you're a single guy, you're in your 40s, dad. Like how do you use like the grocery store, or I mean, will you approach women, or do you like apps? Like what's your go-to?
um, yeah, a few things on that. So first off, I mean, I do use the apps. Like it's just a low hanging fruit. I think it's perfectly acceptable in this
Yeah,
day and age. It's
absolutely.
not a weird thing.
No.
It's just low hanging fruit. Um, but I kind of prefer, and I think most people do prefer, like a more organic connection.
Yeah.
Um, and the grocery store can be organic, I guess, but it's like,
I was just using that as
but
an
it's
example.
yeah, it
People are
can be
trying
a
to
little
buy
odd,
groceries,
you know?
man.
Yeah, especially if you're in the organic section. But I don't know. To be honest, man, the best thing that's happened to me is like I'm just so fucking comfortable with myself, man.
Yeah.
I don't give a flying fuck anymore. Um, I still keep in touch with my girls. I got some girls that we're like friendly, but we also we got our setup. We have
Yeah.
we have
Needs.
it the way
Yeah.
we got things the way we need them to be, but more than anything, like just being comfortable, man. And I suggest everybody do this, man. Like if you're a man, like you don't need a fucking woman. Like all you need is your goddamn self.
Yeah.
To me, I'm like a fucking rock, man. Like I don't need shit, bro. Like I don't need, and like you're not gonna move me. You're not gonna change me. Um, but women, on the other hand, like they need men, and they actually need men. Like I want a woman. Like I'd love to find me a great woman. Um, I'm extremely picky too, though. Um, but a man does not need a woman.
Well, it's
And
companionship for the most part. It's companionship,
see and that's where maybe I'm different than most guys. Like I don't need a companion.
Yeah.
I, I always say, like, if you need a friend, get a fucking dog, man. Like, it's
Yeah.
gonna be way less hassle. The motherfucker's gonna love you every day, and he ain't gonna talk shit to you or slap you or anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I got kids. Like, I'm cool. I got enough friends. I'm cool on all that. I don't need a damn companion.
Yeah.
And this is like, it's one of the things some girls haven't liked what I've told them when we start, if it starts getting a little bit serious. Like I'll have kind of a sit down conversation, which most people I think do, kind of have a conversation. I tell them, look, I don't need a fucking friend.
Yeah.
Like this whole like, oh, he's my best friend. Like I'm like, I don't need that shit. Like I'm not gonna be I'm not friends with women, really. You know what I mean? Like I don't need, like I just don't need that kind of shit.
I met my wife on an app, and we got married 2 months later. So she was in Texas. That's a short story, but it's funny because you said that, and it's actually something exactly what I said. And she didn't want to get on the phone because her English at the time was kind of broken. She's from Brazil, but anyway, she's in Texas. She's an au pair, and she was like, so what are you looking for? And she's like, oh, I'm just looking to make friends. And I said, well, I don't need any friends. I'm like, I got enough friends.
Yeah.
I'm looking for something.
Right.
And at the time though, I was more interested in something serious. That's my point. Like mine was a little bit different than yours was. I was looking for something serious, but and the apps back then that was like 13 years ago. So it was still kind of new. A little bit taboo. So if you're meeting people, and then people are like, you went on an internet date, and I would get these,
Yeah.
man, I would get these freaks that I would meet sometimes. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I took it serious. I'm like, you had to pay for it. I'm like, I want to get the bang for my buck. So I'd go on dates. The problem is you go on these dates, and every date is like, you're spending $100 and something bucks to wine and dine and meet this person. So I cut that back to like, hey, let's go meet for coffee. So like my curiosity, like that's what I'm asking is like, what's it like for you today with your?
Oh, I got a ton of horses, bro. So so like in terms of the dating app, like one thing that I changed was I'll start almost every time, unless I'm really confident. Like I'll take my friend with me and I'll send him in first and like double check, like make sure this bitch is not catfishing, bro. Because I've had that a couple times.
Her dong's hanging out the side of her dress.
Yeah, or sometimes I mean these girls know how to look good in pictures.
Oh hell yeah.
Actually, I just went on a date a couple weeks ago, and this was like the coolest chick I ever met. She was fucking great. Her face was pretty as hell, and it was it's winter time, right? So she was very clothed up and everything. And I was like, hey, let's let's go do my sauna tonight, right? She was Finnish, actually, interesting enough. And, so she was all about sauna. We're talking about, I was like, hey, I got a sauna at home. I was going to hit it tonight. She's like, I'll come. And I was like, all right, I'm definitely fucking tonight. But we get in there. And then, of course, she takes, not all of her clothes, right? But, I can see her body now. And I was like, oh, shit. Like, this is nothing like what it looked like on the fucking app, bitch. Like,
that was bad.
and now I'm stuck with you in my fucking sauna. But she was actually a great conversation. But I'll tell you, probably my best horror story, man. It still cracks me up to this day. It was right around is when Trump was getting elected, or he was running for election. I think the I don't know, 2020. Didn't he get run for election in 2020? Does that sound right? Yeah, because him and Hillary.
Yeah.
Is
Was
that
it 2016?
Yeah, the 2016. Yeah.
Okay, so something like that. I didn't get divorced till 2019. So,
But you were talking about like his re-election when he went to go start again or went for against Biden.
Yeah, or maybe it was like 20. I don't fucking know. Whatever.
Yeah.
But it's at some point, yeah, we were on this date, and this chick, she was cute, man. I really liked her, but she lived or she was staying at her friend's house. She's fucking richer than hell. She's got like 3 or 4 homes. She had one like Barcelona, one in Brazil, one, rich ass woman. Anyway, but she's staying with her friend in the hood. So I don't know, maybe all that shit was a lie, but she's staying with her friend in the hood, right? So I got to go pick her up in the hood. So I was like, I'm bringing my gun with me for sure, right? I don't know what the fuck this bitch is about, right? So I get down there, and anyway, we're sitting there eating dinner. Took her to a nice place, and we're sitting there eating dinner, and she starts getting political and shit, right? She starts talking about, fuck Trump, fuck these gun-toting motherfuckers and shit. And I literally had my gun on me and strapping. And I was like, and I'm just following along. I'm like, yeah, fuck those gun-toting motherfuckers, like fuck rednecks. I don't like them sons of bitches. Like, think they need a gun to protect themselves and all this shit. I was like, yeah, I voted for Hillary. Like, fuck Trump. He's a fucking piece of shit, and all that shit. And then, I got what I wanted that night and never talked to her again.
Oh God, dude. Well, dude, I think those apps now, and I think like honestly, I've got 2 good friends that are on what's the Tinder? Is that it? Tinder? Dude, they will send me
there's so many apps now.
But they will send me pictures of like what these women are sending them. And these women are so aggressive. And these aren't like 20-something-year-old women. I mean, these guys are in their 40s or whatnot. And these women like are aggressive. I mean, they're sending like boobs, like just like right out the gate. And these are professionals. These are professional, like nurses, like people that work high up in these companies. And I'm like, dude, they're just blindly sending you, and they just met you. She just sent you that picture, and I'm like, damn, man. Damn.
Yeah, you're talking about Tinder too, which that's basically turned into like a hookup app. You know what I mean? Like I don't even fuck with Tinder anymore because it's like, for you're either gonna get a bunch of bots, because dude, they'll give you some good schemes too, man. I've had some scammers on there where you'll talk to a girl, and usually like pretty cute, but they won't be like overly cute. It won't give you some gorgeous smile. It'll be like cute enough, right?
Yeah.
And then they'll say, hey, let's talk on WhatsApp. I'm from out of the country, or I just moved here, whatever. I communicate on WhatsApp, which is normal for people from other countries, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So you start talking to them, and dude, these bitches will talk to you for weeks. And then eventually they'll get to it, and they'll be like, hey, you ever thought about investing in crypto?
Oh, God.
Or some shit like. And like, as soon as I get there, I'm like, all right, I got fucking scammed.
Oh, God. Like a data harvesting is what it is, dude.
I had one, I think it was a Tinder girl, maybe a Bumble girl. Like, she would call me, FaceTime me, and like get naked, like play with herself, like give me a show, all this shit. I'd do what I had to do. And then fucking, like, it was at least 3 or 4 times. And then finally she like called me, and she's like, hey, I'm about to travel, and I don't have my suitcase. Can you buy me one or send me the money for it? Some shit like that.
Was she in the U.S.?
Yeah, I don't. Well, I mean, according to her, she was.
Oh, okay.
But I'm like, you did all of that work so you could get like $100 fucking bucks for a suitcase. Like, get the fuck out of here,
dude. Like one of my buddies, like I was telling you about. So he decided he wasn't finding the women that he's in North Carolina. So long story short, so he decides to do like international. So he starts in like Thailand, South America.
That's smart, really.
Well, I mean, what happens is I'm like, he's getting all these all these young 20-something-year-old women that are like from Thailand, sending him pictures, videos, like, you know, doing the deed and all that stuff. And then I'm like, dude, she's going to ask you for money now, man. He's like, no,
For
she's
sure.
telling me she loves me. And I'm like, dude, she loved 10 or 15 guys that she's doing sending the same video to. Sure enough, she's asking for money and he's sending her. Now she's on his payroll. Like, so he's paying her. So she gets paid. Yeah.
No,
he sends
we
her
gotta
money.
bring him on. We gotta bring him on the show and talk some sense into him, man.
Dude, I'm telling you, I'm like, dude,
Have
he's
you
like,
ever met her?
just through, like, they do video. So they'll go live on video.
But never met her in person.
Never met her in person. She tells him she loves him. She says she's going to school to be an accountant. He showed me pictures. She's beautiful Thailand.
Of course
beautiful.
she is.
I mean, beautiful. But I'm like, dude, that's her hustle, man. You know, that's her hustle.
Yeah, what a good hustle.
Yeah, she's got
good hustle.
Like, she's got like 30 guys like you sending her $100 a week, $20 a week. She's like, that's why she dresses so nice. Like, all of her pictures, she's like traveling and all that stuff.
Bro.
I mean, he's not a bad looking guy. He's a good looking guy, but like, I'm like, dude, that's like, unless you're at peace with like, hey man, I'm sending somebody this and that, and we're having fun online, right? Just know that's as far as it's gonna go. Not like, I'm in love with this chick, she loves me.
Man, this goes right back to what I said first, bro. Like, motherfucking men need to realize they don't fucking need women, bro. They need to stand up for themselves and be like, look, like, we're drawing a fucking line, man, because this scam is going on all over the place all the time. If you travel around the world,
Yeah.
you go in other countries, like, they know you're American, like, which is pretty obvious. You look like a bank to them.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like girls, they think every dude in America is rich as fuck, right? And like, you literally look like a bank. And now don't get me wrong, like, I've had a lot of fun in other countries, you know what I mean? And the girls are very sweet and nice, but you're a fucking bank account. Like, it's just a different world, man. And especially if you could, man, if you're a woman and you living in, you know, some poor ass country and some dude's gonna send you money because you send them pictures on FaceTime or some shit, like, what a great gig, huh?
I mean, there's nobody else that's going to see him in their culture. You know what I mean? They probably got like a geo, you know, map surrounding them so that they're not, it doesn't go out to who they want it to go out to. But like, but you've been to, like, you were in Thailand a couple times.
Yeah, I've been a few times.
Like a few times for what is it, Fight Circus?
Yeah. Most recent trip's been with a Fight Circus, and that's what I said, man. When, like, you go around the world, you know, women treat men different in other cultures too. Like, this American style is not a attractive thing for men, man.
No,
and I think as men, we have allowed this to happen because so many motherfuckers are so desperate to get laid.
Yeah. Well, you're right. You're right. Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, that's where, like, I'm very comfortable with myself now. Again, like I got my own little girls, you know, and I might get into a more serious relationship at some point. I would like to, right? I think every person on this planet would like to have like a good, strong companion, right?
Yeah,
someone
absolutely.
that's gonna support them. But man, you can't accept this fucking bullshit that these women that do on a regular basis in this country, that they get away with because men are such fucking pussies and won't just say no.
Well,
say no, bitch. Like, your pussy's not going to control me.
Well, that's the problem. Like, to your point, you have to be, and this is my opinion, is as a man, you have to be comfortable with yourself. And if you're relying like on a woman or anybody else to like to bring you up, to you know, to make you feel like a man, that's not the right way to go about it. And honestly, man, I think a lot of the men today, they're weaker. Like the youth the youth that's coming up, man. Like, I see some of these kids, man,
and bro, women smell that shit from a fucking mile away too.
Yeah, they do, man.
They know it.
They know if you're like sissy. I mean, you can like, as a man, I know that I can walk in or talk to, if I'm entering a meeting or whatever, and I start talking to, you know, another man or whatnot, I'm like, God, this guy's a total fucking bitch, you know? And I'm not meaning it like in a mean way. I could just tell he's a rollover, man. Like his woman probably tells him what to do. And sometimes, you know, women, they want the man to take the lead. They want the man to be the man, you know? And
I think they all do.
yeah, you're right. And
At least, I mean, there's anomalies of everything, but for the vast majority, that's what they want. They want a real man. But here's the women don't know what they want, right? Like they're not their brains aren't wired that way. They need a man to lead them, and that's what they actually desire, whether they know it or not. Most of them aren't going to admit it, right? Because you can't listen to 90% of what a woman says because they say whatever their emotion feels at that moment. That's why they'll say, they want to do this, or they want, they want to eat here, then they want to eat there, then they want, because they don't actually know, right? And this is not a dog on women. I'm not a woman hater. Like,
no.
I respect them, but I also have at least some understanding of the masculine and feminine ways.
Well, I'll tell you what, man.
And the differences.
In the South, we've got those good women in the South. I mean,
maybe I gotta go south.
They let the men lead. I mean, I've got my wife's from Brazil. She lets me lead.
Bro, when you go to exactly, that's what I was getting at right there. It's like when you go to other countries, that's when you start noticing, like, the women are different.
Oh yeah,
they're real women, right? Yeah. Like I've only dated Eastern Europeans and Russians for the last few years, and it's because like they're just completely different people.
Tough women,
right?
Tough.
A lot of people consider them tough, but realistically, they just don't put up with your shit.
Yeah.
They're like, you lead, motherfucker. Don't ask me where we're fucking eating dinner.
Yeah, and they raise strong kids.
They raise strong kids.
They raise strong kids.
I wouldn't even say tough as much as like because a lot of them, like they project this image that they're tough, but they're actually kind of soft on the inside, right? But they know what they want.
No, and that's good. And that's good. That's good for you. That's good for me. I like when I say that my wife lets me lead. I mean, I don't come home and like, hey, where's dinner?
Right.
Like do my laundry. Like I do my own laundry. I usually, honestly, I do a lot of the cooking. I like to cook. But like when I say lead, like she looks to me to make some of the like the decisions, and I don't just do it on my own. I run it by her. But like I lead, like I'm the man of the house, and I appreciate.
You take care of the shit, man.
I take care of the shit, man. And taking care of the shit comes with it. Like they expect it. It's they expect she expects a lot from me, and I appreciate that. That's an honor to me. And I have a daughter. And I want her to see, a man. Like I don't want her marrying some pussy because that's going to be the problem. Right. You know what I mean, dude? Because that's what will happen.
Because it's one of the things like when I have these conversations with a woman, like if it starts to get serious, like if we're not providing less stress for each other, then what the fuck are we even doing?
Exactly.
Right. And there's a certain things that a woman can do to make a man's life less stressful. There's certain things that a man can do to make a woman's life less stressful. And if those two things aren't working, are not happening, what the fuck is the point?
Yeah.
Then you're just there to fuck each other.
Yeah.
Which is cool too, if that's what you want to do. You know what I mean? Like,
that's a different relationship.
Like too,
Yeah.
Which is okay. But I'm not going to allow my stress level to be high to get fucked.
That's not worth it.
And I think there's a large amount of dudes that do.
They get stuck in it.
Yeah, they're like, like I can't just be by myself. I have to stick with this woman or whatever, and they'll deal with all this bullshit. And I'm just not like that, and that's probably why I'm single too. But...
Well, you only live one time, and I think that you've been married too, so I think that you've learned your lesson
and
too.
I got kids and shit.
Yeah, you're not gonna you're not gonna just give if you do get remarried, like you take your relationships a lot more serious now that you've been like. How long were you married for?
I was with her for 10 years.
I mean, that's a long time. So to commit to somebody else after you've gone through something, I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of it, but you're divorced. So there's a reason behind it. So like you're being a lot more tactical in your relationships now. And I think,
well, that's a great point because, like I'm divorced because I chose the worst partner ever, right? Because she was a cute, young, blonde, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like had all those qualities. And I was like, I didn't think about like, what's your values? What's your morals? It just wasn't a match. Like she's is what it is, right? But but
now, the good thing you got good
like,
kids. I met your kids.
My kids are amazing. The single most important decision you will make in your life is your partner.
Yeah.
You will not spend as much time with any other person on this planet as that other person. Not as no one else will share as much energy with you as that other person. And one of the things I tell the fighters all the time, right, is exposure always creates contamination. If you're around the wrong people, that you will be contaminated by that.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're even interacting with them. Their energy just in the same fucking room contaminates you, and you're going to be contaminated by whatever woman you're with, and it's going to rub off on you, and it's going to change who you are for the better or for worse. So you better fucking pick wisely. That's why I got a goddamn list now. I have it written out. It's about 20, 25 different things. And I'll sit down with the woman before a serious relationship and I said, here's my list. If you don't match every one of these qualities, you're out because these are my non-negotiables.
Sign this.
Sign it with blood,
You
bitch.
push it over to her during the dinner. Sign this. But that's true. But dude, if you don't have like your wants and your
But I'll
needs,
tell you what.
she's gonna have hers too. And if she comes back and says, "Okay, these are mine,"
Exactly.
and you've got to be
And
able
well,
to be
a lot
like,
of them,
"Okay,
yeah, I'll tell you what, every time I've ever, it's only been about 5 or 6 girls that I've ever showed that to, and I'll tell you what, they're actually, they're very respectful of it. They're like, holy shit, like you know exactly what you want, like you are a fucking man. You know what I mean? Like
huh?
it almost like elevates me because they're like, oh, you're not like, just playing this by ear, right? Like you know exactly what the fuck you want, and you're not. And I think bigger than anything, like I said, they're non-negotiables. I think the number one thing is a woman knows, like I will pass on her.
But you know, the other thing that you said and that we're saying a lot too is like just like a man, a man is a man. There's like just because when I say man, I say man like like a man's man. A guy that takes control of the situation. Leads his wife. Like leads his children. Like all that stuff. So and that's what I mean by man, because I mean there could be another man sitting next to me that's a pussy. He's just a man. You know what? And what we're talking about when we're saying women, is like a real woman. Because there's girls that are women, but like they're girls. They're just girls. A real woman wants a man.
Absolutely.
And she respects, like if you're coming to her with a list, that's a woman that wants a man that's got his shit together. Oh, this guy's got his shit together. He's not dicking around. And real women don't want to fuck around with boys. They don't want to fuck around with boys.
And I think they like the idea that that I'm willing to pass on them. I tell them, like, if you don't meet this fucking list, then you're not the one. And I think women are so used to just having dudes simp for them, and they can basically get away with whatever they want because the dude is, again, like they're fucking desperate and they're not real men, and they actually need someone else in their life. And there's women, particularly in America, and we could get deeper into that, why it's different in other countries, but they're so used to that now when they come across someone that's like, look, I don't have to have you, and if you ain't what I want, then you're not going to be here. They're like, they perk up and they're like, they want to change right then. They're like, I want to meet your fucking list, right? You give them a standard and they're like, I want to fucking meet that shit,
Give me that list again.
Exactly, and it's and I do think there's two sides of it too, right? There's pros and cons because like I've had some really amazing women that I broke up with because they didn't meet everything, and sometimes I look back and I'm like, man, maybe I could have compromised a little bit. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because I've passed on some very, very good, solid women I think would have been great life partners, but again, I don't need one. I'm cool by myself.
Yeah. I mean, but like
cool.
if you're going to be with somebody, you got to have your standards. And, the other thing is too, is when you have kids, you got to make that person's going to be around your kids at some point. So you got to make sure you don't have some douchebag that you're bringing home that like turns the tide. And then you're just like, fuck, now I'm stuck. Well, you're never stuck.
Fucking,
but it's just a whole head.
Bitch that want to be like arguing in front of the kids and shit.
God, no thanks.
Yeah.
No thanks.
Yeah.
But it's a tough tide right now. And I hear it from a lot of guys. Buddies that
I don't think that. Like, I don't mean to be like all contrarian and shit, but I disagree with what, like one thing you said earlier. It's like this generation is a lot weaker, or whatever. Like I actually don't agree with that. I don't think that the women are as bad as people make them out to be. I think in America, women are used to a certain culture, but I also think that they can be. I don't want to be like Gandhi or something, like they can be taught a different way, but I think they could be exposed to a new way and they would be understanding of that, and I think they would actually enjoy it more. It allow them to be more feminine and be more taken care of and be what they want to be. They just don't know that there's a path there.
Yeah.
They just don't see it because there's not men like that.
Well, everybody's got their cup of tea for sure. For sure. I can't believe that you don't think this generation's that weak, though.
So here's my argument on that. I'll give you my
I
2 cents on that.
I could go by this every day and just make a point of that. Like, it's like, oh, really? Let me show you something.
So that's exactly what it is right there. You could show me something every day now, right? Whereas 100 years ago, hell, even 20, 30 years ago, you couldn't have showed me something every day, right? So it's just here. Let me start from the beginning. Humans are pussies. Humans have always been pussies. Humans will always be pussies. It is just now we can see the pussies way more clearly. But if you look at the reality of the situation, there are more gyms. There's more CrossFit gyms. There's more martial arts gyms. There's more wrestling. Women's wrestling is even coming up, which is doing great.
Yep.
It's one of the fastest growing sports. America does amazing in the Olympics, in wrestling and in boxing, the two toughest combat sports. Not really in judo, which is the other tough combat sport in the Olympics. We have a great boxing scene. We have the UFC. We have tons of fighters in there. But what we see more now is the weak pussies, because it is easier than ever in this day and age to be a lazy, good for nothing pussy. But it is also easier than ever to succeed. And what we are seeing is all the negativity. And that's what our brains are drawn towards. But there's also, again, there's more people lifting weights than ever before. There's more people in gyms. There's more people training jujitsu, Muay Thai, wrestling. Like, all of this shit's coming up. But all we see is the little baby ass bitch playing Fortnite all day.
Well, to like, I agree with what you're saying. Like, in terms of like, there's a lot more access to like martial arts, the gym, all that stuff. Way, way, way more. And I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking like an attitude. I'm just talking about an attitude. That's my exposure to what I've been doing. Like, it's just like, it's like these fucking.
Yeah, and here's what I'm betting where your case is okay. Like in the 1800s, whatever. Like, the dudes didn't have a choice but to be hard, right?
Yeah.
Because they had to go fucking plow the field, right? And I bet I would put money. I wasn't alive back then. You weren't either, so we don't know. But I would put money. That motherfucker was lazy as fuck and hated every fucking second of plowing that goddamn field. And if he had the opportunity to sit in a fucking warm bath and sit around and play Fortnite, he'd be fucking doing it. But he didn't have a chance. So it wasn't that he was harder; he was optionless.
Well, life
now
was
we
different.
just have more options.
Yeah, well, life was different. Life was harder for sure. I mean, for sure it was harder. But in terms of just like attitude, man, that's where I struggle with when I'm dealing with a lot of the, the younger crowd that I work with or have to work with sometimes, and I'm just like, man, it's not the same. There's not the same hunger. And to your point, and there's a lot of avenues right now to where you can make money, to where, you don't have to live in your mom's basement and play Fortnite. It's just, there's no drive, man. There is, and I'm not talking about everybody. I'm just talking about, I think it's like, that's why with my kid, I'm like, I teach her to like that warrior mentality. Like, hey, you got to get up. You got to make your bed every morning. Like, put your own dishes away. Giving her chores, making her do stuff, like putting her in jujitsu. Like, she's
and I think there's more parents like you than there ever was before. Whereas in the 50s, like our parents, or 60s, 70s, 80s, whatever, we're getting old, huh? Like,
jeez, yeah.
But yeah, our grandparents, like the day and age they came up in, they were working all day and they didn't give us time and energy and shit, right? So we were just like, all right, well, I'm gonna fucking sit around and play Fortnite, because again, humans are pussies. That's where our brain goes first, right? Is the path of least resistance and the weak, chill path, which is what we started the podcast about, the cold plunge, right? That's why I do a cold plunge first thing in the morning. I got to beat that inner bitch. A lot of these people aren't taught to do that shit.
Well, and that's a great place to start. Just taking a cold shower, Do that for a month, 30 days, 5 minutes, you know, it'll help it'll help to start beat your inner bitch.
Exactly. And that's the inner bitch. We all have it. But again, there's more avenues these days to beat that shit and develop resiliency. And again, my martial arts gyms are packed. You know, they're full of people.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
What were those people 20 years ago or 30, 40 years ago when men were quote unquote harder and stronger? What would those motherfuckers been doing?
Drinking
They've been
beer.
playing,
Fighting in bars, drinking beer.
Yeah, or the kids, they would have been on the
beating the kids.
Local. Yeah, beating their wives and shit. You know, they would have been, but the kids, they would have been on the local basketball team.
Yeah.
Playing some fucking pussy ass sport. You know, they would have been fucking, you know, doing hippie shit, right? Smoking weed and fucking off, right?
Woodstock,
man. You know, look at Woodstock 99 versus Woodstock 69.
Oh my
Tell
God,
me we
dude.
didn't fucking. Tell me motherfuckers didn't get harder.
Dude, I drove out to that, and
Did you?
we couldn't get in. It was too we had to turn around. We had to turn around, but it was
Probably a good thing you didn't get in.
I'm so glad we didn't get in.
Dude, we could go on about this all fucking day, man, because I'm pretty passionate about that shit. Actually, I'm like, I also understand that I'm surrounded in a bubble of hardened motherfuckers too, right? So, you know, I try to keep my worldview a little bit more open.
Yeah.
But I also like to be optimistic too.
Yeah.
You know, and I think a lot of the people, not calling you out specifically here, Roddy, but I think a lot of the people that are saying, "Oh, this world's a bunch of pussies," a lot of them are projecting.
Well,
They're the pussy.
I don't think they're a bunch of pussies, and I know I'm not a pussy, but I'm just saying.
Well, that's my point. I'm not saying you are, but I think that's a common thing when you hear these people, because I hear that all the time. Everybody's like, "Oh, fucking bunch of pussy." I see it at my gym all the time, right? The parents will be there. This fucking generation's weak, and I'm like, "What the fuck are you doing, bitch? You're sitting over here because what you're doing is you're projecting because you're the pussy motherfucker. You're the one standing over here saying your son's a pussy." I'm like, "You're the fucking pussy.
Well, there is a lot.
You're the one not doing anything."
There is a lot of that for sure. I see that too at the gyms that I train at. So I see a lot of the parents projecting like that on the kids. But mine's like when I talk about that, I talk more about. I'm not like there is a lot of like there. I've also seen a lot of the parents that you know that are raising kids that I think like weak. You know, the way that they do it, the way
for sure,
with the way that the kids are, and
again, I don't think this is exclusive to our generation. I
No.
think this has always been that way.
No, yeah, like to a point, somewhat. I mean, I guess maybe I'm more exposed to it now. I'm willing to say that.
Anyone that had the opportunity to do it would have done it in the past. Maybe there wasn't as much opportunity in the past, right? And there was times where you'd be like, "Oh, you have to get up at 5 a.m. and go milk the fucking cow so we can drink some milk today." You know? And it's like, okay, maybe that raises a little bit stronger of a kid. But now, like, we just have the option.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right.
So no, we could go on all day about this shit, but we gotta be wrapping it up, man. Got fucking kids crying over here and fucking
Speaking of kids, right?
Getting pissed at me. They're like, you can't be out there cussing at the world for too long on the mic, Dad.
Just wrapping it up, man. Like this was another great one, another good podcast, episode 2. You know, thanks for allowing me to be a part of your journey here, man. And this was pretty cool today. A lot of good stuff we covered, and maybe we can get a cool guest on, like talk about the stem cells on the next episode. That would be good.
Yeah, it's easier, man. We get rusted on, but we got a lot of people we'll get on, man. We'll keep making it fun and keeping it educational at times, fun at times, you know, whatever we want to do, man. It's my fucking podcast. Do whatever the fuck we want, right?
Yes, sir. I'm with you. With you 100%. Cool, man.